Hey guys, so today we're going to be looking at scary experiences someone witnessed. So yeah, let's just get right into the video. I was driving home through back roads I had never been on and came across a bookstore in a tiny town in the woods. The bookstore was actually a house, where the front of the home had been converted into a store. There was a box on the porch that said 50 cents per book, so I stopped to see if there were any Stephen King books in there. Middle-aged woman comes out with a huge smile and gives me a bowl of fruit and some tea. I'm like, this place is awesome, and rifle through books while eating the fruit and downing the tea. Inside the store, there were a lot of cool art books and stuff, so I spent some time in there. She brought me more tea, even when I said no thank you, that's plenty. She kept refilling, gave me dessert too, brownies and cookies. I didn't realize it at the time, but she was drugging me. Wait, what? This reminds me of the freaking Hansel and Gretel. Oh my gosh. Y'all. This guy's a grown adult taking freaking like candy from strangers, basically. It's hazy to remember the details, but at some point she closed the shop, telling me to take my time looking at the books. She told me that she was going to take a shower and was gone for a while. When I was ready to pay, I had to wander back through her house to find her. I found her in her bedroom. She was in bed. I'm pretty sure she was naked. At the time I thought weird, she's watching an exercise video in bed, but later realized she was watching adult videos. You might think this is hot, but it isn't. She was my mom's age and had been telling me how I reminded her of her kids in college, so not hot. I told her I was ready to pay and she told me to open the register, so I went and opened it, put it in what I thought I owed, took out the change and left. When I stumbled outside, a fire engine drove by, screaming with sirens. In the distance was the glow of a big forest fire, and the stars were being covered by smoke. A tall man on a horse watched the fire truck pass. He looked right at me, took a piece of wood or something out of his mouth and said, "Town's burnin'." I swear to God, I have a crystal clear memory of this happening, even though I'm sure it couldn't have. By this point, I guess I was seriously tripping balls or something. I'm not a drug guy, so I don't know what I had, but I was out of my mind and could hardly walk. I got back in my car and drove home along twisting roads on tall cliffs above the oceans. Twice I realized I was on the wrong side of the road. One of the times I realized this was because a massive truck was headed straight for me, laying on the horn and flashing its lights. I kept thinking about how my car could be like an airplane and a submarine if I drove it off the cliff. I can't believe I made it home alive. Later, I realized I was in that house for about 4 hours looking at books. At least that's what I hoped to hell I was doing. He was not just looking at books. Oh my goodness. The fact that he can't even remember, right? So there's like memory gaps in his brain because there's no way he was in there just looking at books. What the frick? Excuse me? But yeah, that's actually crazy. Like, did he report her? Did he like, do anything? Because seriously, that could happen to somebody else and they wouldn't make it back alive. That's so scary. But the fact that this man literally thought it was a good idea to even go in to a store in the woods. Oh hell no, this man's not watching any movies at all. But there is an update where he says he went back to the house or shop, but it isn't a bookstore anymore, it's just a real estate company. That's scary. What if he was actually just tripping the whole time? What if there was no house? Right? What if there was nothing in there at all? It was just the forest. You know what? That would make a good horror movie. I would totally watch it. I love my horror movies. When I was about 12, I had a lot of issues with night terrors and rarely slept in a whole night through. One night, I got up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. I sat down, half asleep, and thinking of nothing but emptying my bladder and going back to bed when I see movement out of the corner of my eye. There was a man standing by the other door to the bathroom staring at me, not moving. He was wearing a tattered grey jumpsuit and had a crutch, little to no hair. I don't remember how I got down into the basement where my parents slept, but suddenly there I was, hysterical. My dad finally went up and looked in the bathroom and kitchen, saw nothing but allowed me to sleep on the couch down there anyway. I didn't fall back asleep. About an hour or so later, I heard the sliding door to the bathroom from my sister's room and limping footsteps. The next morning, my dad searched around and noticed that the fridge and pantry had been raided. Never caught the guy. Oh my gosh, that's so scary. Man was literally in crutches and he was still trying to like rob someone's house. I mean, I guess he just robbed the food, but like, why? You're literally in crutches. What are you doing? Just Go to sleep. I got contacts around the time I turned 21, and I had a real phobia of putting things in my eyes. Anyways, I was real careful about rubbing my eyes with them in, because I had this paranoid fear that I would grind them into my eyes. I know. Like I said, I had a real phobia. So I go take a bath, and I'm real careful about getting soap in my eyes. Finally, I washed my hair and closed my eyes as I doused water on my head. I rubbed my eyes and opened them, and I realized I'm blind. I can see absolutely nothing. I was in a state of sheer terror. I got incredibly still, and all the possibilities were going through my head. How was I going to get out of the bathtub without help? Was this permanent? How was I going to live my life blind? Then the lights came back on. In the 5 seconds when I had closed my eyes, the power had gone off. And since the bathroom had no window, I'd been in pitch darkness. What are the freaking chances? The fact that they had a phobia about this, and then it actually happened, yo, that's scary. But it's kind of funny to read about because it's just like, oh, the lights were just off. Not me, but my mother. My mother was very pretty but shy when she was young. She was severely overprotected by her parents, and this caused her to decline date offers since she didn't want to deal with the arguments that would ensue with her father. It didn't help that her junior year, when she finally got the balls to say yes to a date, he ended up dodging a dog and rolled his car into a ditch on his way to pick my mother up. He died. 8 months later, her date ran a stop sign and plowed his motorcycle head into a semi. He died. Her senior prom date hydroplaned at a stoplight and crashed into an office building on the way to pick her up. He died. She didn't date again until she met my dad 6 years later. When he didn't die, she married him. It'll be 31 years in August. I'm like, excuse me? I'm shook. People literally had to die for her to meet the love of her life. What happened? What's going on? Why did everyone that she dated die? Like, what kind of freaky coincidence is that? And they all died by car accidents. Well, 2 of them ran a stop sign. Or one ran a stop sign. Or one ran into a stop sign. And one dodged a dog. What? Dude, I'd be so confused. Seriously? Huh? I used to live next to an eye hospital. One day, walking home, I was stopped by an old man who clearly had trouble seeing. He asked me to help him across the road to the hospital. I agreed, and he grabbed hold of my hand very tightly. At this point, I noticed his fingers were stained brown from tobacco, covered in scabs, and his fingernails were very long and dirty. I started to think that my good deed for the day would be a bit regrettable. When we got to the other side of the road, he still had my hand grasped so tightly I couldn't politely pull away. "Do you want to see my eye?" he said. One of his eyes was squeezed shut. With his free hand, he pulled the lids apart, and I realized to my horror that he had no eyeball, just an empty socket. I started babbling, still trying to be polite, about how that was very interesting, but I had to go. Then he uttered the immortal words, "Do you want to put your finger in there?" He was pulling really hard on my hand, trying to force my fingers into his empty eye socket. At this point, I gave up on politeness and struggled my hand free. It was difficult. He was really strong and just ran for it. Why would he do that? What? Yo. Yeah, I'm never helping anyone again after this. You can walk by yourself. What the hell? My sister ran away when she was 4 once. Our whole family checked the house for 45 minutes and still no sign of her. That's when we called the police. Our neighbors were checking around the woods near our house too. I had no idea what happened to her. It turns out she was hiding under the side table in my parents' bedroom. It had a happy ending, but I was nervous and protective of my whole family for a while after that. I guess this is when you realize that you actually do love each other. You know how you don't really realize it until something actually happens? I mean, obviously, you know you love your family, but then it's like you don't actually feel the fear until you realize something might have actually happened to them. Well, that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoy. Tell me in the comments down below what your thoughts are. And as always, thanks for watching. Hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!